Today we'll be creating this bird's eye view of a city. This is actually called one-point perspective. We fix a length of thread to a central point and use this to take our measurements off. And it's a really fun and easy way to learn it all. So let's get into it. For this project we'll be using an A3 or A4 sketchbook, a board to draw on. I'm using a painting board, but any flat sheet of timber will work. It just has to be able to hold a pen. Some ink pens, and these are the graphic fine liners, a 2H pencil, a ruler, a pin, some thread and some tape. First, we need to place a small piece of tape on each corner to secure it to the board. Using a ruler, create a diagonal line from corner to corner and find the central point. Next, I lay the ruler down the sheet and rule in a light line either side. I then lay it across the sheet and rule out more lines. This will be an intersection. We'll be using some thread to help with our angles. To fix the thread to the board, we'll be using a pin. To connect the thread to the pin, I create a loop in the end, place the pin through it and then press it onto that central point we marked. I have used a marker to darken the thread, but this is more so it can be seen on camera. We can now start to add our buildings, and I'm using the 0.3 pen in the set for this. The tops of the buildings will be square to the viewer, as the vanishing point is in the middle of the page. The easiest way to create a building is to draw the top of the building, then place the thread on the corner and draw a line back to the edge of the road. We don't often see the top of a high-rise, but there is all sorts of stuff up there. Things like air conditioning units, cooling, electrical generators, chiller plants, water pumps and so on. So add all these elements in. All high-rises are built differently, so we should add a different effect to each one. For one, we can lay intersecting lines over it, and the one next to it we can add horizontal lines. Another, we may lay squares over it to suggest large windows. In some cases, it's a good idea first to lay the top of the building in with a pencil, to see if you're happy with the positioning before you commit to adding the pen line. You also have to give some thought to where the buildings lie in relation to each other. Don't lay the buildings next to one another, as there's always space between them. Buildings are also all different heights, so where the top of the building is positioned will have a bearing on this. It's best to start in the middle and work your way out. Obviously, you will see the effect of perspective is more severe and flatter the further away from the vanishing point the building is. There are basically 4 types of perspective: 1-point perspective, 2-point perspective, 3-point perspective and multi-point perspective. 1-point perspective is linear perspective, where an object converges towards a single vanishing point on the horizon line. In 2-point perspective, parallel lines along the width and depth of an object are represented as meeting at 2 separate points on the horizon line. With 3-point perspective, parallel lines along the width of an object meet at 2 separate points on the horizon line, like 2-point perspective, but vertical lines on the object meet at a vanishing point beneath the horizon line also. With 3-point perspective, parallel lines along the width of an object meet at 2 separate points on the horizon line. Like 2-point perspective, but vertical lines on the object meet at a vanishing point beneath the horizon line also. Multi-point perspective is a combination of these three with multiple vanishing points. Once the buildings on either side of the road are in, we can turn our attention to the road, remove the pin and rule some guidelines in for the sidewalks and the zebra crossing and draw them in. Cars can be suggested with a little oval shape and then drawn onto the road. Well, thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this tutorial and give it a go. It's a really great way to learn one-point perspective.